Right here, it says in early June 2010, Plaintiff Robinson received an inquiry from a fellow spiritual son as to whether Plaintiff Robinson had engaged in an inappropriate relationship with defendant Long. The May 19th sexual advance by defendant Long, combined with the revelation from the telephone call from another spiritual son, created a desire to hurt defendant Long by taking the items most precious to defendant Long.
Right. That was discussing the break-in. One or two of them broke into Eddie Long's office.
Okay.
And that's probably the lawyer stating and trying to justify Maurice Robinson's actions in doing that was a result of emotional distress from the inappropriate relationship with Bishop Long.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent, but if you look at the accusatory instruments, they're very consistent.
Very much.
And the actions of Bishop Long are very consistent with that of a predator.
Very much. In ancient times, there's only one thing you would do with Long: is take him out and stone him.
Right.
You know, because he's like a walking disease at this point. Okay, there's nothing you can do for him. He's amoral. He knows no right and wrong anymore.
But why is it so hard for people to deal with this, especially his members? I mean, and he's got millions of so-called Christian supporters out there that won't even look at the evidence.
I think a lot of people, blacks in particular, like to get played. And those are the ones who go to these, a huge percentage are the ones who go to these churches. And this is what Long is doing. They're playing, and maybe some of them, they knowingly get some admiration out of this. This is entertainment for them.
But is this an indication that this modern form of Christianity practice has moved towards a control mechanism, mind control, and lunacy?
Yeah. Well, especially the more you stray away from the Bible, the more the personality comes into view.
Cult of personality.
Yeah, sure. The less scriptures, the more the cult of personality. You know, and that's what's going on. It's a bad thing, and once it gets out of control, especially, there's going to be damages. You know, that's the sad part.
Are we seeing this all over the nation, or really all over the world at this point? The Benny Hinns, the Eddie Longs, the Joel Osteens, the mega church. They have their own TV. You're talking about multi-billion-dollar industry now at every level.
Yeah.
And in our community, you have more churches on every corner, but the same problems really in our community have improved.
No. You know something, and here's the thing. Prayer is not going to solve the problems, really. Prayer can help, but you got to have actions also.
Right.
Okay.
You got to get up off your knees and do work.
You have to go out. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of people, they believe in praying all day long, this and that. You know, those things sound nice, but that's not going to stop a bullet from going into a kid's head.
Where do you think this Bishop Eddie Long scandal is going to end? I mean, let's give it a. If we're the jury, after looking at the accusatories, which we have, where do you think this is going to end?
It should end with his ousting. You know what they call, I don't know what's defrocking. He's not really a bishop anyway, is he? I mean, legally.
Well, he's been ordained. I mean, in that church.
He is that church's pastor or minister. He is the church's leader. That is, he's the founder of that church.
Right.
You know, he just gave himself an upgrade in the title, whatever. But he should be removed. Okay, the church needs to have these churches need somebody, and I hate to say it, but they need a Reverend Wright. They don't need an Eddie Long. Okay, they need somebody that's going to get them Afrocentric minded, and teach the fundamentals of history, and then what is the African liberation theology, things like this. You know, I think those are good ideas, but this, you know, this Eddie Long's gospel most likely is
this form of Christendom, this form of megachurch. You're hitting it dead on the head here, Chris. It does not follow Afrocentric theology. It does not follow the true history of the black church.
This is old time. This is dusted off old time religion. You know, do as I say do, don't do as I do. We're holding you back, but we're holding you back because we love you. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've come up with beliefs type, you know, like that. You know, old Southern, black Southern theology, philosophies. Okay, and this doesn't help. This doesn't help at all. All right. But they're getting a gross version of even that. That's what New Birth teaches.
Is this Reverend Ike multiplied 100 times over? I mean, this is what you're talking about. You're talking about prosperity. One person sit on top and the rest are on the bottom.
Right. And
good things that happen to you because you're doing good things for this one person. I never knew of God needing any money.
Neither.
You know?
Neither. You know. That reminds me of one of Richard Pryor's old albums where he talks to God and God says, I just want one thing from you. He says, what is that? He says, give me some of that tuna fish sandwich.
Right.
Okay? You can't bring God down to human levels.
Right.
That's the one thing. Yeah, God doesn't need money. And to tell you the truth, if you look back, you study Jesus' life. Jesus didn't put emphasis on going to any building. And you know, they had the tabernacle, they had the temple, whatever, that they carried with the Jews carried with them, and Jesus didn't bother too much with that. He said, you know, okay, that's you guys do that. You know, Jesus was a one-on-one person. Get yourself together. You know, stop being an a-hole. Stop beating your wife. Stop being a drunk. Stop stealing.
That's a question.
Okay.
All of these megachurch pastors and their fine jewelry, gold outfits. They're telling you to follow a man that didn't have any of these things.
Right, exactly.
And was not interested in any of these things. And why is it that...
Wasn't interested in building.
Right. Why is it that the people that purport his name, everything they do in his name, are doing the direct opposite of his life? Their good is through materialism, and then the materialism is supposed to do good. What about the good? And forget about the materialism.
Sure.
I'm going to live off the land. I'm going to live with the basics.
Well, you know what? What's going on here is you have to, if you follow these churches today, you're going to have the bare basics. All right, yeah, but you're the church leader, the church pastor, whatever, is going to have much more than that. Okay, I believe people should be able to contribute to the church as far as funding and programs and things like this. You know, like that's the kind of church I was raised in, the Kingdom Hall. At the very least, we didn't pay our elders to buy a car. They bought their own cars. They had their own employment. You know, I got a cousin in California, Wilmer Brown, same thing. He doesn't take funds in. He's got his own job. Okay, right. He doesn't accept funds from the congregation and then says, "Oh, I'm going to buy me a new Cadillac today." It doesn't work that way. So that's the only way. That is the only way you can effectively run a church. It's the only way. Once people start getting an inkling that their money is going towards your prosperity, and you're wearing nice suits, $2,000, $4,000 suits, and you're driving brand new Bentleys, Rolls Royces, 2,000, and even going so far as to have Learjets and things like this. You know, as opposed to buses for the congregation to travel to conventions or things like this. You've gone too far. That's when the church clergy has crossed the line.
While people are suffering.
Yeah.
Many of your members.
Sure, because there is a wide line, a big line between spirituality and materialism. It just is. There's nothing. That's not hard to distinguish. It isn't. There's not a fine line between spirituality and materialism. It's an obvious line. It's a clear-cut line.
Well, Chris, we've talked a lot about Bishop Eddie Long. This is the second part of a three-part series, and we're going to keep our eye on this and see what happens. But here are the accusatory instruments from 3 of the 4 accusers, and I would advise any of you just take a look at it, and you tell me and make your own decision.
Now, where did you find those? What site did you find those at?
Various sites. So you have to do a search on the Bishop Eddie Long court documents.
Okay.
If you go to Google Bishop Eddie Long court documents, many sites will come up. It's just whether or not, if you want to print them out, it has to be a printable site.
Okay.
But if you Google Bishop Eddie Long court documents, you'll get a lot of sites and a lot of information on what Bishop Long has been accused of. All right, hey, that's all for the network. We'll see you next week with my buddy Chris Stevenson, and I'm Pat Freeman. We'll be back on the network next week with another area of observation.
See you next week for clbTV.
All right.